Calvary Christian School. We got trivia night coming up in a few short weeks, but before we dive in, we got Dave Mike Wade in the studio. I am really glad I read that Alt Memorial story now, you know? No. But with that being said, I've really seen that you guys have had just a really good couple of months. I've been seeing all the Facebook posts, seeing folks getting excited about the Christian school and then all the other programs you have at Calvary. It's got to be a good time to be over at the church.
It is. It's a busy time for sure. Yeah, we've had a lot of interest in the school. We started taking enrollments and doing family interviews in January. And so, every week we're getting contacts from families, asking questions, coming in for interviews. And so, we've had a lot of interest and a lot of good conversations, and plans are moving toward August.
Well, and that's what I think a lot of families really wanted to find an organization, an opportunity for education where it has some spiritual compass to it, you know, and that's what a lot of students are missing out on right now and a lot of other schools and districts. And it's great that we have this opportunity.
Sure.
And one way to do that is trivia night, to support that and really get the word out and let folks know that Calvary Christian School is here and ready to go. But before that, guys, I got to break the ice here. Wade, you live in the same neighborhood as my parents, and I just wanted to finally say this. If you hear me yelling at my dog in the afternoon when I pick him up, it's because he will not go in the car with me. He wants to stay over at Grandma's house.
He don't want to go home.
Yeah, so if you hear me screaming like a banshee, I promise I'm good to the dog. It's just he is stubborn and won't leave. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I just had to throw that out there today. But this trivia night is going to be really exciting. March the 22nd. You see that on your screen, and this goes towards the school, I'm guessing?
It does, yeah. The proceeds will go to help just with startup costs for the school. I mean, you know, as you can imagine, starting a school, there's all kinds of things that are needed just for classrooms and all the rest. So the proceeds will all go toward helping us start up.
Really cool. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nosy, so I did some digging and started looking up the Calvary Trivia Night and saw that, Dave, there's some really great rounds of trivia that are getting ready to hit. I saw your comment that kind of described some of them. Do you want to fill me in?
Yeah, what we're going to do is it's 10 rounds, and it's all about 20th century history. So 10 rounds, one round on each decade. So some of the folks there will have been around for more decades than others. But they should still all know everything. It's nothing, you know, it's the high points of each decade. So it's going to be fun. So I love doing these. I was at a trivia night a couple weeks ago for the Riverbend CEO.
Oh, I was there.
And the host that night was really, really good. I enjoyed his work. Oh, that was you.
See, I heard he was a jerk, you know? They did a good job, I thought, at their trivia night, too.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, except I didn't win. So.
Yeah, you know, neither did I. But I think it's really cool because trivia nights are difficult. I didn't realize all the components that go into it because there's some trivia enthusiasts in this town that enjoy some quality questions and some quality rounds. And who's in charge of putting all the questions together?
That was me. I've done this before. In fact, I've done most of the questions that are coming up. It was several years ago for a totally different organization, so the chances of anybody being there that night who was at that one are pretty slim. And even if they were, people don't remember.
I don't know.
It's trivial, you know.
Right.
So,
I don't know what I had for breakfast, Dave. You know?
Exactly, but it's fun. Yeah.
And if, Dave, you don't mind me asking, take me through your experience with Calvary, you know, and why you're, you know, doing this trivia night and the time that you're dedicating to it as well.
Well, I've been a member at Calvary for 31 plus years, which even predates the Dobsons coming in by about 3 or 4 years. I grew up right here in town. I grew up at Upper Alton Baptist, a few blocks away. But I've been at Calvary for 30 years, and as far I was in the newspaper business for a long time. Worked at the Telegraph, and before that, some other places. But I've been at Alt Memorial for a few years. And we've done trivia nights there. And when I first went to a trivia night 20 years ago, I thought, this is fantastic. This is right up my alley. Right. I love these. I love playing in them. Then eventually, I started hosting them and coming up with questions. That's just something I love to do. So I look forward to this one. It's going to be a great event.
If you don't mind, I'm a newbie. I'm a rookie trivia night hoster. So I got to ask a veteran. What's your first step in really bringing that crowd under control?
That can be tough. Yeah, you gotta kind of grab them by the throat figuratively and say it's time to start. That's the big thing.
Yep.
They're getting together and they're having a good time, and it's like, okay, it's time to start, and everybody, you gotta just okay, everybody quiet down, and when it's time for the questions, you got to listen to them, you know, because there's a mixture of people. There are some people there who are just there to have fun. They can care less if they win or not, and that's fine. But there are other people who want to hear the questions because they want to answer it and get it right.
Just don't do any zoom-in pictures on this one.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Gotta admit, I didn't really love that category.
I did not want to be. Well, and getting back just to this school overall, this trivia night's a great way to kind of get everyone in a more comfortable setting, let the hair down, take the hairspray out, and just be a part of it, and really get that sense of community that Calvary Christian School is bringing and utilizing. I think that's a huge portion of me that's invaluable of this event.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the things that we wanted to provide, whether it's the trivia night or we're going to have a silent auction that night as well. Going to have some great items there for that. And we wanted to provide an opportunity where, like you said, people can just come. It's low key. They're with their friends, with their family, can have a good time, and at the same time know that they're supporting the school. And it's just a good night of kind of fellowship together.
Well, and if I don't want to put myself out there, but I'm going to. There's a lot of churches that are around here that are really wonderful, but I think what you guys do better than anybody is the community outreach and support that you do with working with, so many, whether it's a sports team, or cooking meals or whatever you do, providing location space. You really put your money where the mouth is when you say, hey, be a part of the community. We're opening our doors for everyone. And you guys have done that for decades, and that's why I think you're a step ahead and able to really launch this Christian school too.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing that's always, I think, been important to us, CJ. We've always asked the question, if Calvary was gone tomorrow, if we were gone from this community tomorrow, would the community notice? Mm-hmm. And that's an important question for us, because obviously I think any church wants to answer that question to be a resounding yes. But we want our presence felt not because of us, not because of Calvary or our name, but obviously for the glory of God, and we want to advance the cause of Christ in our community, and we want that to be felt. Sure.
Well, and that's what I just, going back to the importance of all of this, is really just a lot of times, too, you get some folks that, will go, hey, I really want to, bring you in. I really want to bring you in. I want you to come see what we have to offer, but the doors are never really that much open. It's kind of, you have to knock still to get inside, and you guys don't. You open your doors up, and that's why I think it works. And that's a great quote, and I wish a lot more businesses in town, anyone, would think about that. Are they going to remember us if the doors close tomorrow? Yeah. And I definitely think that we're all going to remember Calvary. There ain't no doubt in my mind, regardless. Mike, how's everything going in youth services?
Good, doing well. We actually have, and we'll talk more about this as the months get closer, but VBS this year's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
So when people come to Trivia Night, we'll have information on all the kids' programs, obviously, because it's going to be Trivia Night for the school. But like you said, with parents and families looking for different school options right now, we just want people to know that we're here, and check it out. It might be the fit that they've been looking for a while.
Well, and this is something when I went to private school, because I kind of had a little bit of a hybrid learning system growing up. I was private until middle school, went over to the middle school, and then stayed in the district. But the lessons that I was taught in elementary school, and just that word that was kind of being brought down to me from the private school that I went to, it really put me a step ahead in terms of critical thinking and really having that moral compass. And I think that's why that's really one of the most invaluable things you can teach, especially at the youth levels, is to have that type of compass and have that gauge of what's right and wrong. And I think that's why so many parents are looking at this going, yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so why don't we do this? It's 9:33. I got to pay a bill. We'll come back, learn more about silent auction items. We'll promote Trivia Night some more, and we'll talk more Calvary Christian School.
Great. Sounds good.
Right after this on RiverBender.com.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alt Memorial campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, woman-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Perhaps I may become a highwayman again, or I may simply be a single drop of rain.
9:35, welcome back to this fourth day of March. You know, I hate Pi Day. You know, just because we're 10 days away from it. I am so tired of the pie, puns, and like 314 day, I like 316 day better with Steve Austin, and really just going and having some fun. But as we get back to this, I mentioned silent auction items, which I didn't realize in my couple of years just being here, how much of a draw that is alone, because you can really come up with some great prizes and support the school at the same time. Do we have an idea of what we're going to be winning out there?
Well, I know there's, I don't know exactly how many items we have. We've got a couple members of our board and our education council that are working on that for us. I know we've got some great gift card baskets with a lot of good gift cards from local businesses and places like that. We've got, I know there's a pretty substantial grilling basket for, our outdoor enthusiasts. We've got some photographers that are giving away family sessions and some different things like that. We've got several items. I know they're in the several $100 range just in terms of value of what's there. And so there's going to be some really good silent auction items, Jeff, for anybody that's interested in that.
Just another reason to go out and support. And Dave, you and I were talking, great point, because I'm not the best trivia guy. I'm a good supporter, I'm good at kind of saying, yeah, that's a good answer. I'd go with that one. I'd never put out my answer first. I always wait to let people know they were right all along. But this is really about supporting just the, the school, Calvary as a whole. And just going back to why I think the Riverbend region's so special is the fact that our community does come out and support these types of things. Dave, what are your thoughts?
Exactly. Yeah. That for any trivia night, you never lose sight of the fact that you're there to support whatever the cause is. I've had people this through the years. You ask people, trivia night. Well, I'm not that good at trivia. It's like it doesn't matter,
right?
Even though it's called a trivia night, it sounds like it's the main point of the night. It really isn't. And you're on a team. For people who don't know how a trivia night works, you're on a team of probably 8 people. And people I think people sometimes think they're going to be standing up in front of the crowd and have put on the spot to answer a question. Doesn't work that way. You're writing your answer down. You're one of people on a team. If you don't know a thing all night, you still might win if the rest of your team if the rest of your team is smart. But at some point, the other thing is being on a team. At some point, the winning team, probably everybody at some point every night does contribute something.
Right.
They'll ask something at some point. Others are better at others, but there's something you'll know. And as my wife always says, it's a lot more fun sometimes if you don't know the answer, because then you can kind of make up a stupid one.
Yeah. Well, and just like that, if you've never been a part of it, there's something. It's really good to test your knowledge every once in a while, and it's always good just for that mental fitness level alone. And thinking back, and man, in 1990, who was here? And just having those discussions, because it helps you kind of get out of the everyday funk of just the 9-to-5er mentality, and get you to think a little bit more too.
Yeah, it's amazing how I guess I've always been pretty good at remembering things. I don't spend any. People say, "Well, are you going to study up for a trivia night?" There's no way to do that.
No,
because the questions are so random. So, but I've been pretty good at that. But it's fun to kind of research these things and make sure you got the right. You don't want to have a situation where you give the answer and somebody comes up and that's not right.
That's always the worst feeling in the world.
I don't think I've had that very often because I kind of research my answers really, and you have to ask the right kind of questions. There's no room. It's got to be a definite answer. It's not like somebody's opinion on something. It's got to be a definite who, what, when type of thing.
Well, I've noticed that media people are hell of trivia players, because it's the things you do at your work, and you're like, oh yeah, that did happen a couple of years, in 2009, that was the event. And then just getting back, where is this at? Is this at Calvary Baptist?
It is, yeah. It's on our campus. It's in our gym. So if you're familiar with our campus, our parking lot's a big hill, and so you just go to the bottom of the hill basically, and that's where you enter for the gym. But yeah, it's in our gym. Starts at 7:00. The doors open at 6. We're providing soda, popcorn, and of course, most people know at trivia nights that's part of the fun is bringing your own food and stocking up your table. So people can certainly, like I said, come in early. Doors open at 6 and kind of get their tables ready so that when Dave grabs them by the throat, as he said, at 7:00, we're ready to roll. So.
I really need to do that about 6:50.
That's right.
Got to start to reel them in a little.
You're right, because of the congregating times. You're right. Well, and just getting back to this, how much are tickets?
It's $15 a person, or so you can sign up as an individual or a couple, or you can call us and reserve a full table of 8 for $120.
That's really a reasonable thing,
just $15 a person, and we're just asking folks if they would just call the church 618-462-8816, and that's the easiest way just to sign up for, like I said, for a whole table or just as an individual or a couple, however you want to do it.
Well, I just love the idea that you're making it affordable too, because sometimes trivia nights do get a little costly, and but I like the fact that you're really sticking to the mission of opening the doors and just saying, come and experience this, and you don't have to be a member of the church to be a part of this. This is a great opportunity. A lot of folks are always looking, maybe they aren't getting the fulfillment, at their current organization, or maybe haven't found that next home, for their spiritual journey. And this is a great way to go in, get the gauge and the vibe of the church, the organization, in a different setting,
It's no different than our Sunday morning worship. We don't want just our members to come. We want visitors.
100%.
Same thing, yeah.
We got to grow. Well, and too, in a world where more and more you're starting to see people turning to faith, because, and I've started to notice that, especially with, you got I hate to say it, but influencers like Mark Wahlberg and all these folks that are saying, hey, it's okay to pray. It's cool to pray. It's great to practice your faith. And even locally, more and more people I'm seeing are really starting to turn that way with all the nastiness going on around the world and here locally, too.
CJ, people are looking for a community. They're looking for ways to fit in and belong.
Yeah.
And there's not a greater thing to belong to than God's family. And, when you come away from trivia, and I know Dave and Pastor Wade can talk about this, you always come away with a story.
Yep.
Or many stories that you can share as a community.
Well, you're right. And that's what I think's cool, is just that rubbing shoulders and, realizing it's okay to have fun. I think we're in a society where, people are actually scared to enjoy themselves a little bit, and I don't know why that is. It just seems that way, where everyone's still, like, it's not like, there's a chip on your shoulder, but we're just a little wound tight. And this is a perfect way to go and just, enjoy,
Absolutely.
And then I wanted to ask you about the high school day coming up.
Yeah, so a lot of people in regards to the school, CJ, have asked, which is a very logical question, what grades are you going to offer?
Right.
So basically, as we've prepared for the school launching in August, first day of school is August 20th, and so we're looking ahead to that. We've prepared in terms of we're putting curriculum together and all of that for K through 12. But that will depend on our enrollment, right? And so we've had a lot more interest in the high school option. What are you guys thinking about doing for those age groups? So enough to where we felt like we needed to offer a night just for interest and information, just for parents of high schoolers. And so we're doing that coming up on March the 18th. It's the Monday of the week of Trivia
Busy
Night.
week.
Yeah, it's that Monday at 6:30 in our gym, same location as the trivia night, and it's for parents, like I said, parents of high schoolers who just want to get more information or want to ask questions, just particularly about that part of what we're planning. And so you can go to our website. Folks can go to our website. It's CalvaryChristianAlton.com. And if you go to the website, the first thing that pops up is a place to RSVP for the high school night if they're interested in that. We've had several families already that have done that. And so, yeah, that's something else we're looking forward to here in a couple weeks.
Well, and that's what I think is really cool, is as established as Calvary is in the area, to see you guys keep evolving and opening up these, different doors to opportunity, and whether or not it's for education educational purposes, for spiritual purposes, or community purposes, like Mike, you were saying. I mean, it's all there. And that's why I love watching this, because you guys really do have chapters of your book. And that's what it's great to see what the next chapter is going to bring. And I could only imagine the conversations you're having with these parents, too, that are, saying, here's what I'm noticing with my child, here's what I'm noticing in their education, and here's what I would like to see. And do you have those quite a bit where they have kind of just their thoughts on what's going on? Absolutely.
And a lot of people have asked, because we say that we're doing family interviews, and like, well, what does that look like?
Right.
It's the first thing it's the first contact we have with every family. If someone asks a question about the school, we say, hey, set up a family interview. And it's a chance for them to come in. We sit down for 30 minutes with some of the members of our ed council, and they just get to ask questions. We get to share with them what we're doing. They get to find out what we're doing, but they get to, it's as much them interviewing us as anything else. And
right.
You don't get that a lot today in terms of just a family being able to come sit down with those who might be educating their kids and say, these are my kids, this is what's going on with them, these are their needs, and kind of really personalize and individualize education and right. talk about their specific child. And so we're excited to be able to do that.
Well, that's a great point, because you aren't doing it. I've always had an issue with parent-teacher conferences, because a lot of parents work during the times that parent-teacher conferences go on, and it's hard for them to find time away. And that's why I think it's great to have these times set aside where you're meeting on this decided base, and you're coming in and really having that conversation that you all can focus on. It's not, all right, yeah, I know, they need to quit talking, let's get through it and let's go. This is a really in-depth conversation to figure out the needs of both sides, too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. Yep.
Love it. And then, Dave, I got to ask, because we got to get back to trivia here. Coming up March the 22nd at 6:30, doors open?
7. Doors open at 6, trivia starts at 7.
Dang it, I was almost right. It's a Monday. In your opinion, Dave, what's going to be the most difficult round of trivia?
Probably the first one, because that's the first decade of the 20th century. Yeah,
That's when my boss just started walking around.
Going back to, so you better study up on what happened in 1902.
A lot.
Yeah.
That's With that being said, Mike, anything going down at the youth level you want to fill us in on before I say bye for now?
Yeah, with the kids, we have we have Easter services coming up March 31st, and we're going to have 2 services at 8 and 10:30 with a breakfast in between for anyone that wants to come in and just grab some food. But the kids are going to be doing a song on Easter morning about Christ rising from the dead, because he's our Savior. So they've been practicing that, and they're really excited about that. But there's always a lot. Anyone out there can go to calvarycaresforyou.org to learn more about what's going on. There's always a lot going on at Calvary for kids and for students.
100%. Wade, anything else we need to hit on?
I think we've covered it. We're excited, and we'd love to any families who are out there who just want to sit down and have a conversation with us about the school and what we're doing. We'd love to do that. And like I said, the website's the best way to do that. CalvaryChristianAlton.com. They can request a family interview there. They can join our contact list just so they'll get our newsletters and keep up with everything that's going on. So.
100%. And I highly encourage you to just to check it out. If not, you don't have to make that definite decision, but just realize there's always alternatives out there if you aren't being fulfilled. And this is the best way, just to go ask questions without being committed.
Sure.
And I really like that about this. And whether or not you go to Calvary Cares for You or you want to learn more about the Christian school, Calvary does care for its community, whether or not it's for trivia nights or just any type of community-oriented event that they do. And I highly encourage you to check it out March the 22nd. Get your table of 8, or just go by yourself and join a table. Experience the camaraderie and experience Calvary Baptist and Calvary Christian School. Opening its doors August 20th.
August 20th, first day of school.
And they're ready for you. At 9:48, we'll take a quick pause and we'll come back and wrap up the night after this in downtown Alton.